All right, Rachel, thank you. Well, despite being given the first dose of the COVID vaccine, some nursing homes continue to see outbreaks, including one in Old Saybrook, where more than half of the residents and dozens of staff have contracted the virus. Fox 61's Matt Karen explains what we know so far.
Well, just within the last week, 55 residents have contracted COVID and 3 residents have died here at Gladeview Healthcare and Rehab in Old Saybrook. When I called the facility looking for information today, I was hung up on. Since July, 77 residents and 4 people have died of COVID here at Gladeview Health and Rehab in Old Saybrook. 55 of those infections and 3 of those deaths came just within the last week of reported data.
A lot of folks did test positive, both residents and staff members. As far as I know, the nursing home is trying to get it under control.
When I called the facility, they hung up the phone. In addition to the residents, 20 staff members are also positive for COVID.
It spreads like wildfire once it gets into these facilities.
Looking at the statewide data from just the last week, another 414 nursing home residents have been infected and 132 more have lost their life. 387 more staff members have also tested positive. Flare-ups aren't limited to Gladeview. There are current outbreaks at Groton Regency Center, Davis Place in Killingly, the Middlebury Convalescent Home, and Apple Rehab in Colchester.
I know some of the reason why it spread so quickly is because of the poor ventilation in these older buildings. So anything to make improvements to make sure that residents and employees at these facilities are safe, I would be supportive of.
All this as the race to vaccinate the nursing home industry is on.
We're on track to complete everybody having their first vaccine in the nursing homes by the end of next week, which is what we wanted to do.
And while a public information campaign also wages war against misinformation and vaccine hesitancy within the long-term care industry.
That misinformation that you gave us some information on before this meeting, that rumor about how it affects your fertility or reproductive ability, that is running rampant, and this is a strongly young female workforce. So anything we can get that is, sort of that we can provide to the nursing homes and the other providers so they can share that with the workforce, that would be extremely helpful.
A spokesperson for the Department of Public Health told me that they are checking up on Gladeview and other nursing homes to make sure that they're meeting minimum staffing requirements and that they're following proper infection control procedures. It's also worth noting that 69% of the total COVID deaths in Connecticut have come from nursing homes and assisted living facilities. Reporting in Old Saybrook, Matt Karen, Fox 61 News.